Everyone, so today we will be working on lab number 6 part 2. So we are going to design a simple website again, which should have a table, and in the table we just have to add the animal names and their frequency ranges, and of course we can discuss about their each animal traits as well. So what we're going to do is, the first thing is, everybody just create a folder on your desktop. So we will organize all the stuff in that particular folder. So just create a new folder. Let's say just name it, for example, lab 6 part 2. Open it up, and then we need to create a Word document, a text file. Let's name it, for example, lab 6. And if you open it up, we need to save it as HTML, lab 6 or whatever the name is, .html, and make it all files. Then close this and delete this text document. Now all you should have is just this HTML document, which is completely empty. There is nothing on this. So you can open it up. If you see, this is basically your lab 6. So what we need to do is we'll right click here and open this with the notepad. So I'm going to actually put both of these side by side so you can see the results as well when we will make any changes to it. So this is basically our web page. That's the web page. And on the left side, I have the source editing file. So first thing is to create a web page. First of all, let's make a simple structure, HTML, closing tag of HTML. Then I have to add a head. As you know, a website has a head and a body. We add scripts, the titles and all those stuff add in the head. Then let's add a body tag. Okay, so now in the head you can add a title or something. For example, the title is, I will add a title tag, and title is, for example, wildlife, for example, wildlife, and / title. So if you save this and refresh the browser, you will see the title will get changed. Okay, now let's get to the body and let's add a heading tag here. Heading is, for example, animal description and their hearing range, for example, and closing tag of head h1. Okay, so this is how it looks like now. All right, so h1 is basically heading 1, and what is heading 1? It's the animal description and the hearing ranges of the animals. So let's save it. If you refresh the browser, whatever you type in, it will be right down here. Now, for example, you can put whatever the paragraph is you want to put. Let's say, so we will discuss 5, or let's say 5 animals, their habits, etc., and etc. And let's close the paragraph. Okay. So you have closed the paragraph, and let's save this. Let's refresh the browser. Whatever you type in, it will actually come down here. First of all, let's start with the hearing ranges of the animals. So to create a table, we actually use, all right, so create a table, we use a tag which is called table tag. And within the table, we're going to add an attribute for border. So border is equal to 1. 1 is basically a border. I mean, you can change it, of course. I just put a 1 here. So by using this, I'm going to add a table tag. So table should be closed. All right. So within the table, what we want. Firstly, let's say we want to add a row. So we just add the rows. So tr, row number 1. Okay. It will add the first row in the table. If I just run this, I can show you. If I save this, refresh it, you guys can see it just have add something, but there is nothing inside it. So we can add something. Let's say inside this table, the row 1, let's say you add here table heading. I mean, if you want a heading, table heading, let's say number, something like that, and then closing of heading, th is basically heading. And then another table heading, which is, for example, animal name, and then let's say another heading, third, it's going to be a third column. I mean, if you, because you are putting headings inside the row. So one row and the headings. So heading, let's say heading range. All right. So if I save this and if I refresh the browser, you guys can see it has created a row with four of these four of the columns, and in the bold because of the heading. All right. So number one is, let's say the first one, I'm going to add another row. If you want to add another row, tr, it will go in this fashion, tr/. So now I'm going to add here another heading. Let's say number one first is td. td is the table data. Let's say first is 1, and you can bold it if you want. I mean, otherwise it will not make any difference. td. All right. And the second entry, so this will come down here under 1. Then under the animal name, I'm going to put animal name, let's say dog. So dog. All right. And the heading range, for example, I get to this website and this is the dog heading range. Do you have the dog here? Dog. Oh, right here. So that's the heading range in hertz. So you should define this hertz thing in the in right here in hertz, something like that. So again, another entry td, and next is this thing here. Okay, and /td. Right. Let's go back here and let me refresh my save my data. If I saved, if you guys see here, this is basically what it says, dog and that right here. If you want to bring the dog or this content in the middle, you just have to do one thing here. There's basically a way how we can do that. It's called and NBSP, not basically the blank space. So you can actually copy paste it. Let's say this thing, Control C, and 3 times. Okay, so now if I show you guys here, if I refresh the browser, you will see the dog has been moved in the middle. If you, for example, I mean, want to add one more, so just copy this. I'm going to add a little bit more space, paste here. Save this. And if you refresh the browser, it's basically moved in the middle as well. So same thing, I'm going to, for example, move the frequency. So I will add this thing before this. Okay. And then file, save. You guys can see it has also moved in. Okay, so the similar way we can add some more frequencies, more stuff. For example, you want to add another row. So for example, if you want to add another row, let me copy this, the same thing, and I can modify later on. So it will add the third row. So this is row 1, this is the row number 1, that's the row number 2, this is the row number 3 now. So in the row number 3, what I want is, it's going to be number 2. For example, you can add the animal name is, for example, rabbit, and rabbit frequency. Let's check the frequency for the rabbit. Do they have rabbit? Rabbit is right here, and that's the rabbit frequency. Copy this. Sorry about that. Copy this. Let's go back here. I'm gonna put this frequency range right here. Control V, and I mean, it doesn't make any difference if you put a space here. It will not make any difference. Save. And if I go back, sorry, save this and refresh the browser, you see a new row has been added. If, for example, you feel like it is basically more than that, so you can remove 1 or 2 NBSP. So if I save this, so you can align it accordingly. You guys can see, oh, this ad is coming up. Sorry about that. Control S. I think it's better now. So you can adjust the number of NBSP as per your own, and NSB. So I think I need to remove one here from here as well. Got it. So this is basically how we can add the table on the web page with the borders and all. So for example, now after that, you want to add something. Let's say you want to, I mean, you have to put 5 rows. So just put 5 rows. So right here, I just have 2 rows. You need to put 5 rows. After that, let's say you want to talk about dog, for example. So I'm going to give a heading here, heading 1. And let's say it's dog and / heading 1. And let's save this. And if I refresh it, you guys will see it is Yeah, that's my bad because it is dog is inside the table, so I'm gonna delete it. It should be outside the table, so then it will be not the part of the table because it was inside the table, so that's why it has considered. So you guys can see it is basically outside the table. So please put it outside the table tag. So under the dog, for example, you can put something about dog if you want to. Let's say this is, let's say, let me just copy some stuff, but you can just Google something about dogs. So let's say I want to put something about dogs, something like this. Let's say these two. Although it's not relevant, but I'm just telling you like something like that if you want to put it. So if I Control V, go back here. So if you guys just file, save this. Sorry about that, let me refresh. Okay, so we got it, and now let's refresh it. You guys can see whatever you typed in, it's basically showing up down here like this. Okay, this is the whole web page right now. For example, now you want to add the picture of the dog, which we want on the right side. Let's add a picture of the dog. So how we can add it? So in order to add a picture of the dog, so what you need to do is the very important thing here, go to web page, and let's say, for example, whatever your favorite dog is, dog JPG or PNG. It's basically JPG or PNG images are compatible. So look for a dog of your choice. I like German Shepherd. So German Shepherd. All right, German Shepherd, great. And let me just find, okay, this one is the right click. I'm gonna right click here, save an image as, make sure it should be a JPG image. So you can type here whatever the name, German.jpg, okay? And now it should be under the same folder in which the web page is. So web page now name was lab 6 part 2. Open it up and save it right here. So now if you go back to the folder, you should see this file German. So German.jpg. So German is basically the name of your image. So if you want this image next to the dog, or you want this image right here, so I'm gonna actually add this image. So the tag for images, it's called img image, and then you need to define the source is equal to whatever the name, which was German.jpg. Okay, close this. Let me show you it will basically add your image if you want. Let me just close this and let me show you how this image will look like right now. All right, so let's refresh the browser and see. You guys can see here, this is basically how this dog looks like. Okay, you can put it before that, you can put it on the left side as well, on the paragraph. If you want this thing on the left side of the paragraph, so we just have to do, or you can reduce the size as well. So if you wanna reduce the size, or you wanna change it, so you can type here align, or let me just add a style for you guys. So you can type here style. This is the CSS, and then add a float, and let's align left. Okay, now if I save this, refresh it, didn't make any difference. Let's say align right. Let me right. It is not taking, oh, it is getting aligned. If you guys see, it was basically getting aligned. Let's say if I just make it left, because the window was small, that's why it was not basically showing up properly. Yes, so left and right, we can basically move it on the left and right side again. Okay, what else we can do? What else we can do? We can make a picture small. Like for example, you want to put the image first, so right click, cut, and I want to delete from here. So let's put the image first and then the other stuff. Okay, so let's make it right side, right to the text. And now let me file, save this, and let's refresh it. All right, so this is basically how it looks like right now. The image is too big. So what should I do? If you want to reduce the size of this image, so what you need to do is you just have to add another parameter, we typically add the parameters width, and width is equal to, for example, let's put 150, and let's say height, assume that, let's take it, height is equal to 200 maybe, or 250 for example. Okay, and then after that we got the styling in. So we have height and width is defined. This is the source of image and this is the style. Make sure the image should be in the same folder in which this web page is. Now if I refresh my browser, it's I mean it's good but not that great. So let me just make it more wider. Let's say 350 and height is, let's make it 250. And let's refresh it. Yeah, it's better I believe, but we can reduce the height. So let me reduce the height to maybe 150. So if 150, all right. And now let's reduce the width as well. Let's make it 250. So I believe it should be, a bit better. Okay, that's better. So for example, typically what happens, the paragraph ends here because I want to add the dog. After dog, I want to discuss the rabbit. So after that, for example, you want to discuss rabbit. So I will do the same thing, Control C. Here, for example, I want to discuss rabbit. Okay, so if you want to discuss rabbit here, just save this, refresh the browser, the rabbit will come down here. But if you want to bring it down, so I know you know how to do how to do that. Just add a BR. Let me add 2 BR. If I add 2 BR breaks, refresh the browser, it will come down. So you can increase the gaps if you have any. And then the same way, whatever you want to put under the rabbit, let's say whatever we did already put it down here for rabbit. Let's say let me copy this. Okay. And if you guys want to put this stuff under the rabbit, all right. All right, so let's see how it looks. It's under the rabbit now. And for under the rabbit, if you want a picture or something like that for rabbit, exactly the same way, we'll go down here, rabbit JPG. Whatever the bunny you guys want to pick, let's go to images. Whatever, let's say I like this one. I'm gonna right click here, save the image. And this is a web, I'm not gonna get that because it's a WebP file, which is a different file. So let's see this one. Let's see, save the image. It's a JPG file, great. So just type rabbit and save it. Now this file has been saved. If you want this file, the same stuff, I'm gonna copy paste it before the text, and this time the image name is rabbit. Again, same length, same specifications, save it. Now if you guys refresh the browser, now you guys can see the rabbit is basically showing up with the specification. So you need to design something like that, this kind of web page. You can change the background if you want to. We already did that previously. You know how to move this in the middle. You just have to add NB and NBSP to move it in the middle. So just create a web page with the 5 main animals, their frequency ranges, and just a little bit description, like 2 or 3 lines, just like that. So if you will have any question, please do let me know in the class. Okay, thank you so much.